I greet you in Jesus' precious name. We're sitting in the garden right next to the little chapel, which is directly behind me. It is an extremely warm day on the farm. It really is. But as farmers, I don't know if we ever get used to it. But it's a beautiful day, and we thank God for it. And I thank God I'm alive, and I thank God I can speak to you about the things which are concerning eternal life. You know, often we will speak about temporal things, and we have to, because we live in this world, about our wages at the end of the month, about our children's schooling, about old age pensions, about whether we can continue with that old motor car before it packs up. But how often do we sit down quietly in the garden, and this is our little garden here, and talk about home time? When I talk about home time, I get excited. Turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full in his wonderful face, and the things of the world will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. Do you remember that old song? And we really need to do that. We need to focus on the Lord. So we live for the now, okay, and we focus on the time to come. And we spend lots of time doing that and tell stories to our children and tell them about home time. You know, John Bunyan, the author of probably the most famous book next to the Bible itself, Pilgrim's Progress, he was arrested for his faith and put in jail in Bedford in England. And I think he spent something like 12 or 15 years in jail. And it was terrible. It was tough in those days. His family had to bring him food. He had no bed, some hay put down for him every now and again. But he wrote the Pilgrim's Progress while he was in jail. Now, when he got sentenced, it must have been terrible for him. And he must have thought to himself, Lord, what are you allowing to happen to me? But maybe the Lord had something to do with getting him isolated so that he could sit down, be quiet, and hear what God had to say. And then he told that beautiful story, and I'm sure you know it. And if you don't know it, you really need to get that book. I didn't say DVD, the book. Sit down with your children and read that story. It's all about home time. You know, I did that when we arrived on the farm here. We had no electricity. There was no television. There was no lights. We had those little paraffin lamps. And I bought a copy of the Pilgrim's Progress when I gave my life to Christ. The kids were all small. And every night they would sit down around my chair, and I would read them another chapter from the Pilgrim's Progress. And they couldn't wait to hear it. It's about Christian. He's a believer, and he's making his way to the celestial city, which is heaven. Now, on his way, he's got all kinds of obstacles that are tripping him up and trying to prevent him to go. And most of them are characters. They're people. You know, there'll be one person's name will be slothful, and he'll be encouraging him just to slow down and pack it up. And another one will be doubt. You know, are you really going to make it? Is it really going to happen? Many of those type of characters. And then, of course, there'd be the great champions, faith and hope and, of course, love. And these were real shining angels for the Lord that helped him on his journey. And he was carrying a rucksack, a backpack. And so the going was tough, but eventually he made it to the celestial city, home, our home in heaven. I want to say to you today as well, remember, this is not a one-night stand. This is a journey which is going to finish in eternity. Keep running your race. Till next time, Jesus bless you, and goodbye.